He might have got come around.
Pat has forged his own path, and by either playing or working for his dad or leading his own programs. Today, this coach night is back home at Marian University in Indianapolis and leading that program. Here to say a few words about his dad, Pat Knight.
I'd just like to thank everybody. First off, I'd just like to talk about the group I came with. Three of my dad's favorite players, and probably three of his greatest, Quinn Buckner, Scott May, and Mike Woodson are here. And if it wasn't for Coach Woodson, this probably wouldn't have happened. He was the one that, had the idea to do this, called my mother and I to make sure it was okay. But it's great to have three of my dad's favorite players. Actually, the AD now in Indiana is one of his favorite managers, Scott Dolson, on the trip, and then also two of his oldest friends, Mr. Ferguson and Dr. Rank. So it's kind of a special trip coming over. And then I wasn't expecting it, but Mr. Colangelo, dear friend of my dad's for a long time, and one of the few people Coach would actually listen to and kept my dad out of trouble. And quick, Mr. Gray, I know my dad's reputation with the media wasn't very good, but I'm not making this up. He always enjoyed your interviews, and I found all your books in his library after he passed. So I just wanted you to know that. But on behalf of my dad, I just want to thank the Hall of Fame. My dad never was into awards at all. No trophies around the house. He actually sold all his rings probably 20 years ago and watches. He just wasn't sentimental, except about the Hall of Fame. When he got inducted in 1991, it's probably the greatest moment for him. Just be, Claire B., Joe Lapchek, Pete Newell, just to be inducted with all his friends. And I just remember that night, I was telling the guys that, he was with John Havlicek that night. He was just like a little kid. My brother and I never, growing up as Bob Knight's son, he was pretty much the disciplinarian that you see on TV, and so we never saw that side of him. And of course, we got to know that side as we got older, but it was kind of neat to see him that night. And I remember the first guy he bear hugged was Willis Reed. And so this, I'm telling you, would mean everything to him as much as it did when he got inducted in the Hall of Fame. And what even makes it more special, Coach Daly and him were best friends since, I think Coach Daly, he told us, we actually got to be on a plane ride with him. And he spent the whole plane ride talking to my brother and I, since he was the freshman coach at Duke. And then Nancy is a different story. God, he loved her as a player. When she was a teenager, just loved her toughness, her tenacity. And we just talked. He really helped her English language out. And then it came to a point where he just loved her for the person she was. And I told her, we were always relieved when she came around to our practices, if it was Indiana or Texas Tech, no matter what kind of mood Coach was in, he always lit up when Nancy came into the room. And so, not just being back in the Hall of Fame, being inducted with two special people in his life would mean everything to him. And I just want to thank everybody for this opportunity, but it means a lot to our family. But trust me, this is the one place my dad wanted to be, and this means everything to him. So thank you very much for this honor.
John and I, just a quick story. John and I went down to Texas Tech and planned to visit with Coach. We thought we'd get 20, 25 minutes with him, hopefully talk Hall of Fame. And 3 hours later with Coach Knight, he had a camp going on. He brought us out to camp, introduced us. It was really a special experience with him. It was we could really see, and we had always heard what a historian he was, and he was an amazing historian, and we were really fortunate to be able to see him.
Just this immediate, he was very protective of me as a woman in a man's sport, of having to go against the tide all the time. And it's different than where it is today because of people that are in this room. So I'm grateful because I'm not standing here without those incredible men in my life. I look at this Hall of Fame and squarely I'm looking at you, Jerry Colangelo. There's so many of us that has a story to tell of what you've done for them. Your faithfulness, your kindness, your vision has changed so many lives. I don't look at you as the kind of guy who sits around and pats himself on the back, but you've done so much for so many, and we're just really grateful. I hope you're around when it starts. And you fulfilled that dream for him, and you fulfilled that dream for me and my family. So thank you for what you did personally for me, but thank you for what you did for the W and where we are. And those moments, those people in my life have taught me how to treat people right, how to lift when you rise, help other people around me. And it was such an extraordinary, there's no bench without great people in your life. People that in this room that I've looked up to, Sylvia Hatchell, Coach Woodson, my Olympic teammate, Julian Simpson, who's my co-captain of the Olympic team. You taught me how to treat people and what you've done. And everybody, Julius, we grew up in a time, you know this because we're with each other 10 weeks in the Big Three every year, which is the blessing of the story. But, your class, your character, your skill was enormous. You're even more a better friend than those extraordinary wins and dunks. And I'm very, very grateful for you to be in my life and to be a great influencer in my life. So, the dots always connect somewhere, right, Mike Fratello? You were kind to me when I was just starting out. You talked basketball to me, the way Hubie and you would talk. So men have poured in, women have poured into me on so many levels for me to try and help my players, whether it was in the W, whether it was in the NBA G League, whether it's, when I was coaching in with the Sacramento Kings, and whether now currently year 7 coaching in the Big Three with NBA players, to earn their respect, to care about their family, to let them know as young men and some men of color that we're there for them, to earn their trust and to believe in the information that they're getting, because we are a team. This Basketball Hall of Fame is a team, and there's great leaders, and certainly I mentioned Jerry, but John Daly, is John still here? Did he leave? Did he delete?
Got another.
I thought it was funny. And of course, Jim, TJ, my son says I'm not funny. I think I'm hysterical. Jim, thank you. Thank you. There's no bench without you believing in me, and I thank you so much for making this happen. And just your kindness last year when you came to me, it blew me away that you would want to do this in my name. In closing, I would like to say this about the Basketball Hall of Fame, and I believe Scott and Jerry and Bob and everybody, you'll agree with me. When Cheryl and Ann and myself and Lucy for years and just a couple of other women, we were in this hall. And what hits my heart and makes it full is Jerry came up with this jacket thing, which is, it's so imperative that it delineates excellence like we've seen in so many other sports. And as this thing has grown, and you see so many women last night, in the VIP, we're unstoppable because of you. Just think of how many women are wearing that jacket. It's not just 2 or 3. It's not just a one-off anymore. It's a thing. It's a movement. It's happening. We're redefining respect and kindness and how we are viewed as women. I am not jealous of any of these young women in the W. If I'm not jealous of them, if Julian Simpson is not jealous of them, if Pearl Moore isn't jealous of them, nobody should be jealous of these women. We might be envious because we didn't get to play in our prime, but we celebrate them, we don't tolerate them. And I think we have to do this as a basketball family. So to all of you who showed up today, thank you. Thank you for blessing us. God bless each and every one of you. And even my friends who showed up, Superfan from Toronto, for Chauncey, the people that show up and show out for us, you're amazing. So thank you so much, and just proud to be here and to have this shield. It means the world to all of us. Thank you.